Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Oregon session today. My name is Hani, and I do not know how to pronounce this state, so they had to teach me. I am the Education USA advisor at the Fulbright Commission in Prague, Czech Republic, and today I've got two special guests. I've got Cassandra, who is a Fulbright grantee and a current English teaching assistant in Strakonice. And then I've got Jack, who is also a Fulbright grantee and an English teaching assistant in Belovitz. Thank you guys for joining me today and taking us to Oregon.
Of course. I am wondering if Jack is still with us. Okay, there we go.
Am I? Oh no, is it already? Okay, it's good. Okay.
Well, I grew up in Oregon and I absolutely love it there. As much as I'm enjoying being here in the Czech Republic, I am looking forward to going back home eventually to Oregon. And Jack went to school in Oregon, so we're really excited to talk to you about Oregon today.
Yes. It's great. It's the best. Okay. Oh geez. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Okay. So for those of you who don't know where Oregon is, or maybe hadn't heard of it before, Oregon is out here on the west coast of the United States. It's in what is known as the Pacific Northwest. So it rains all the time. It's very foggy. So, if you like the fog here in the Czech Republic, you might feel right at home out in Oregon.
Yeah, I would
Anyway.
say especially in the valley, the climate is very similar.
Oh yeah.
So
So you
Oregon,
wanna get us started? Yeah.
yeah, Oregon is a really fantastic state. I've already said that I love it there a lot. There are a couple of major cities in Oregon. Portland is the biggest city in the state. It's the only real metropolis. And it's a pretty big city. I actually don't know how big off the top of my head, but they have amazing bookstores and theater and all sorts of things. There are a bunch of universities near Portland, including PSU, Portland State University, among a number of others. And I think it's a great city. I've spent a lot of time there just visiting. It's
They also,
Hmm?
I just wanted to jump in. They also have a very active like music scene. There's lots of
Yes.
concerts. They have an NBA team. Um, Lots to do. It's a very active city.
Yeah, big arts community, theater, music festivals. They have, yeah, sports, lots of concerts come through. It's a big enough city that we'll get like major stars coming through to give concerts and stuff. Um, and it's about an hour away from Salem, which is where I grew up. So I was in and out of Portland a lot. Salem is a much smaller city, but is also very nice. It has a really cute downtown. The Capitol building is in the picture here. Salem is the capital of the state. And yes, thank you, Jack. Um, like the Capitol grounds are beautiful in the spring. Everything is in bloom, and it's right in the middle of downtown. Downtown, there are lots of coffee shops, bookstores, restaurants, some bars. It's a great place to go and hang out, in my opinion. And there are also some really great parks in town, so you don't have to go too far to feel like you're out in the outdoors. Um, and then about another hour further south of that is Eugene, which is a city kind of between the two in size. And Eugene is the home of the University of Oregon. So it's a university town. Um, and it feels like a university town. It's a little bit more sprawling. It's got some pretty good suburbs, but it's also a really nice place to live.
Yeah. So those are like kind of the main cities in Oregon. They kind of branch off down from like the top left corner and they just kind of tucked up there. Um, but Oregon is also a great state for natural beauty. There's a ton of variety in Oregon for things to do, places to go, and things to see. Um, one of the main kind of draws of Oregon are the mountains. You can see, let's see, I'll go back. Oh no, that might have been a mistake. Oh no. So here in this picture, this is Portland, and in the background right here, you see Mount Hood, which is a very famous mountain kind of in the West. People go there year round to go skiing. Very, very famous.
And
Yeah.
what
There's also all up and down the state. Oh, oh no, did I?
I was just going to say, when you fly into Oregon, you like fly directly past Mount Hood and you can see it out the plane window, and it's astonishing as a view.
It's very, very cool. The plane like banks around and you're like, oh my gosh, like you can see the glaciers and all the snow,
Yeah.
and it's very fun. But it is just one of many mountains in Oregon. They go up and down the state. Most of them, or a lot of them, are volcanoes, which is pretty cool. So they just kind of, instead of being like a big like mountain range, they just kind of like sit out there by themselves, which is cool.
Although it is also a big mountain range.
Yes.
Both
That's that.
we have two mountain ranges, and if you live in Oregon, you'll most likely be living in the valley, which is the Willamette Valley between the Coastal Range and the Cascade Range.
Mhm. Yes, they are great. Now, as Cash just mentioned, there is the Coastal Range, there is the Cascade Range, but then on the other side of the Coastal Range is the coast. Being on the western side of the US, Oregon has great access to the ocean. And the Oregon coast is incredible. It's not exactly what you would think when you think of like beaches and coast. It's very cold. It's very like rugged and rocky in a lot of places. And you get just these really cool formations up and down the state. And it's pretty accessible. It's easy to get to. From Portland, from Salem, it's only about an hour to get over. So it can be just like a fun little day trip out and back. But that being said, there are like state parks, there are campgrounds, there are all kinds of things that allow you to enjoy the coast. If you go to the east, to the other side of the Cascades, you get into the high desert part of the state where it is a lot drier. You get more kind of like deserty type of plants. You get cool rock formations, and it's just another element of the state in terms of all of its natural beauty. So yeah, it's there's a ton to do outdoors in Oregon. And then to top it all off, the forests that kind of blanket everything are just incredible. There's throughout the year in the fall, all the colors are just great. And there's so much good hiking, so much good biking, camping, really anything you could want. So yeah. Anything you want to add, Cass?
Yeah. So the Willamette River, which runs through the Willamette Valley, has a lot of really beautiful hikes along it, but there are also some other really great rivers in the US or oh my gosh, in Oregon. If you like, sorry, I've been talking about the US all day. If you like to hike along rivers, the Metolius River has some beautiful spots. This like rock formation is a place called Smith Rock that's a really beautiful place to go hiking. And if you're near a city or you're living in a city, it's still really easy to get to a lot of those hiking spots. So if you drive an hour west, you get to the coast, but if you drive an hour east or southwest, you get to a hiking spot. So it's all very accessible if you have any kind of car for a day trip for an overnight.
We also, in Oregon, there are a lot of really good state parks that you can go to, where there are a lot of resources, trails, campsites, all that kind of stuff. And then we also in Oregon have Crater Lake, which is absolutely beautiful. It is a national park, and it is actually an old volcano that has filled with water, and it's just an incredibly deep lake, but all of the water is fresh, like it's just snow melt kind of. So the lake is like stunningly blue. It's just this beautiful color. And it's really cool. You can like drive all around, and there's cool stuff around the lake. You can take like ferries out to this little island, and there's a lot to do.
And none of the pictures do it justice. Like
yeah.
before I went to Crater Lake, I was like, I don't know, it's Crater Lake. It's over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's astonishing. If you end up studying in Oregon, you have to go see Crater Lake. On a slightly smaller scale, there are also a ton of state parks, like Jack said, and there are state parks for all sorts of different environments. There's state parks at the beach, there's state parks in the woods, so you'll definitely find something that's up your alley.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, now moving on, I guess, to the schools, probably why you are here. We're going to go ahead, and Cass is going to tell us about Chemeketa.
All right, so Chemeketa Community College is a 2-year community college program. And you're like, oh my gosh, only 2 years? But Chemeketa is partnered with a number of 4-year institutions in Oregon. So the point of Chemeketa is to go to a community college, which costs a little bit less, has a really good program, and like let it help you prepare you for taking your second 2 years at one of these other institutions. So Chemeketa is in Salem. It has 2 types of programs, one for trade training and one that is like a general education. It's called General Education and Transfer Studies. So you start your majors work, you take your intro level classes, you graduate from those 2 years with what's called an associate's degree, and that prepares you to transfer to a 4-year college. So if you know ahead of time which other university you want to attend, whether it's PSU or U of O, you're able to look at the requirements for those majors, or OSU, Oregon State University, University of Oregon, Portland State University. There are a bunch of options. So if you know going in which of those institutions you want to end up at, they have, they try to give you like a seamless transition. Sorry, can you hear that? No. They try to give you a seamless transition between schools. So you finish your associate's degree at Chemeketa, you've been following...
Oh, no.
Oh, you've been following the OSU or PSU or U of O guidelines for your 2 years there, and you're able to jump directly into your coursework in your 3rd year at a different institution. Chemeketa has classes on a lot of different topics, so you have the opportunity to explore lots of different fields. And unlike some of these larger institutions, class sizes are small across the board. So it's also a chance to do your general education requirements in classes of 15 or 20 or 25 students, instead of in classes of 300 students, which you might get in an intro level class at one of the state universities. Can we see the next slide? For international students, they have a ton of support. They will help you with your arrival, with figuring out your housing. They'll provide you an orientation. They have both academic advising and immigration advising, help with your visa. They help provide you with some healthcare, some insurance. There's tutoring available if you need it. And you get to take part in the regular community trips and events that take place. It's also, like I said, a lot cheaper than a four-year institution. So you pay per credit. There's a universal fee, and then there's an additional fee if you're attending with an F1 visa, which I presume is the type of visa you would be attending with. Awesome. And so there's an additional fee, but it's still like adds up to a lot less than you might spend at a different institution. And there may be other aid or other scholarships available, but it's already a lot cheaper. Chemeketa also has a really excellent ESOL program. So if that's English for speakers of other languages. So if you are coming to the US and feeling very lost and wanting some help with your English, that would be there for you. They also have remedial or entry-level classes available if you need them. If you find that you are behind in math where you should be compared to other students, or behind in a different topic, you would be able to kind of get up to speed, and it wouldn't count toward that associate's degree, but it would be like support that's available to get you where you need to go. And then, like I said, their program is designed to help you transfer smoothly to another institution. So you have to be on top of making sure you fulfill your requirements, making sure you do everything that you need to for the paperwork and kind of the administrative side of things. But if you keep track of all of your steps, it'll be easy to switch from that 2-year institution to your 4-year degree.
So I have a question, because I know, how much do the public schools usually charge per tuition, but here the price is per credit. So can you kind of clarify how many credits can a class be, or,
That's a great question, and I don't want to speak without having done more research about it. My understanding of how this breaks down is that it's saying $307 per class, but as I'm saying that out loud, I'm not sure that that's correct, and I highly recommend you do some more research before
But
you.
usually those like freshman classes, are they 2 credits or 1 credit? If we forget the price, but normally the classes are usually for how many credits, do we know?
I'm not sure, because at my college, every class I took was worth either 2 credits or 4 credits, depending on whether it was a half class or a full class.
Mhm.
But I have a friend who went to the University of Oregon, and all of her classes counted for 3 credits or 1 credit. So I think it can vary between institutions, and I would look up like a course catalog to try and get a sense of what the total tuition would be for you. All
Perfect. All right, awesome.
right.
Okay. Well, now I am going to go ahead and talk about to Willamette University, which is a 4-year private university in Salem, which we mentioned when we were just talking about the cities. It's a very small school. There are only about 1,200 students in the undergraduate College of Arts and Sciences. And the school, it promotes a general education. So students are required to take classes in a... Oh no, is it working?
It is working, yeah, somewhat.
Okay. Oh, I'll talk like really slowly, and then the static won't be as bad. Oh no. Now I'm getting the internet connection is unstable notification.
So students have to
Okay.
complete
I'm
interdisciplinary requirements for their general education, and that is a requirement in addition to the requirements that you fulfill for your specific major.
Okay. So
yeah.
do the students do it from the Czech Republic to be even able to apply? They have to finish some kind of prerequisites?
No.
No. Those are for um once students get to um once students get to Willamette,
Mhm.
usually they have to your first couple of years, you just kind of take classes in a lot of different subjects
Oh, okay.
to fulfill those prerequisites.
Mhm.
And that way it kind of uh it kind of forces students to try a lot of different things
Mhm.
and see maybe they like something
Mhm.
and or are interested in something that they hadn't even considered before.
Mhm.
That's kind of the big idea behind it.
Mhm.
But then once those prerequisites are out of the way and people have decided what they want to study, um, they kind of hone in on that subject and start taking your major specific classes.
Got it. Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the campus is absolutely beautiful. It's in downtown Salem. It's right across from the Capitol building, um, which is great. Um, Now, because the school is so small, there is a very good student to faculty. I don't know if I had one single class that had more than like 25 people. Especially once I was in my major specific classes, it was like 10 people or less. So there's a lot of one-on-one time with professors, and the professors are absolutely amazing. They're always available for extra help. Um, the Willamette has a system where each department building has an area where all of the professors' offices are, and there's like tables and desks, and you can go and do your homework there. And usually the professors will just be in their offices, and you can just like stick your head in and ask them questions. And it's very collaborative, the kind of learning environment. And I felt very supported the whole time as a student. There are over 40 different majors to choose from, and they kind of cover all kinds of things. There are a lot of STEM majors. I was a math and physics major, which is not always, people don't always go to small colleges to do like science and more technical stuff, but I had a great experience. I feel like I got a very good education. So there's that. There's also very good humanities departments, humanities programs. And then uh, there's finance, there's business. And then Willamette is also partnered with a number of graduate programs. They have a very good law school that regularly sends students basically directly into the Oregon uh, state government, like into the legislature, where um, people will be working at the Capitol while they are a student. They'll be doing internships. They'll be working with state Congress members. And then as soon as they graduate, they kind of just go off on that way. There's a very good school of management, a business school, and there's a really good joint program with the undergraduate college where they make things easy for students to complete graduate level classes before they graduate from undergrad, that I had a lot of friends do. And then they've recently introduced a data science graduate program, and they also recently partnered with the College of Art, the Pacific Northwest College of Art. So there are a lot of options for Willamette students in terms of their classes. And then finally, just to wrap up, there is a pretty strong international community. There are students, I knew students. Oh no. Oh, it froze. It froze.
You're good. We hear you.
Wait, how long does it take? Okay, there we go. So what was the last thing? Did you hear the start of the
There's a
international?
strong international community, and you knew.
Yes. So there were a lot of students from the UK that I knew of. Specifically, that's the big one. There's also a very large Japanese population. Willamette is partnered with a school in Japan and will regularly send students to Willamette as part of an exchange. So that's a cool cultural experience that students from Japan get and students from Willamette get. Lots of people study abroad. And yeah, so there's a lot to do. It is rather expensive. It's on the pricier end, but all students receive some sort of financial aid from the school. And there are various scholarships that the school has to try to make it a little bit more accessible and affordable. And there are a lot of opportunities for on-campus jobs that people do to help pay for their tuition. And then there's also a lot of clubs, a lot of sports. Personally, I initially was on the varsity baseball team. That's how I ended up at Willamette. So I was playing sports. I stopped playing sports after 2 years, and I started working for the outdoor program, which was like the outdoor club that would go hiking and skiing and camping and everything. So there's a lot of things to do on campus. And then finally, Salem is great, as Cass mentioned earlier. It's very close to Portland, the coast, the mountains, everything. And then there is a cute downtown with restaurants and bars and things to do. And lots of hiking around Salem. And it's generally just a fun little town. Yeah, that's all I have for Willamette. So any questions before I move on?
I just wanted to put in that I didn't go to Willamette, but I was on their campus all the time. And it's a beautiful campus. It's a really wonderful university. Jack has talked all about all of the like tangible benefits. It's also just a beautiful place to go to school. I really love it there.
It's great. I loved it. A+ experience. Okay, now last but not least, we just wanted to mention oh, is it good?
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Okay. We want to mention the University of Oregon, which, as Cass mentioned, is in Eugene, which is an hour south of Salem. And it is a 4-year public university that is very large. It's a research institution. And as a result, they do have a very big student body at over 22,000 students. But being such a big school means that they have a lot of different programs that you can take part in for your studies. They have very good athletics. Their sports teams are regularly in the top teams in the country for a variety of sports. They actually their track and field team and their cross country team is one of the best in the country. And they regularly host like international track meets. They have very good facilities. And so that's a really cool thing if you're into like running, track and field, all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of student organizations on campus, lots of things you can get involved in, as you might imagine. And a good percentage of the students do end up studying abroad, almost a quarter of them. So if you were to decide to go somewhere else outside of Oregon, that would be an option to you. And the cost is about $17,000 a year. But most students receive some sort of financial aid to make it a little bit more affordable. Within the university, there are specialized schools that you would apply to directly, like a school of medicine, I imagine an engineering school, all of those kinds of things. But they're not really binding that I'm aware of. You can move between them with relative ease. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they also have an honors college program, which if you think that, the small class sizes and the specific type of coursework that you'd be doing at a school like Willamette is really attractive to you, but University of Oregon is more affordable or a better fit. Their honors college program is kind of like a liberal arts university within the larger university. So not all of the classes you would take would be through the honors college program, but every semester you would be in some kind of smaller seminar course. Whereas for your 100 and 200 level classes at a school like the University of Oregon, you might be in, a lecture hall with 300 other people. So you'd have at least one course every semester that was smaller, more focused, humanities based in most ways, probably. I had a bunch of friends who went to the University of Oregon. They really loved it there. They were involved in all kinds of things, from math to physics to marine biology to writing to theater. So there are lots of different opportunities, lots of different programs. And Jack started to mention this, I think, that if you go to a really large university, not only will you have more options for what to study and what classes to take, but the large universities also tend to have more resources. So the facilities might be nicer, or the labs might be doing more cutting edge work. Though that's not always true about it being cutting edge, but they have more money to put into the programs that they care about. So if that's something that's important to you, it's something to keep in mind.
Okay. Yeah. Great. So that takes us to the last slide, or is there one more?
Yep. And this is, again, a school that you can transfer to from Chemeketa.
Oh, yeah, cool. Good to know. From the community college, guys. You can then transfer to the 4-year institution, finish the 2 more years, and then you get a bachelor's degree. Amazing. So guys who are watching, please, if you have any following questions on lifestyle in Oregon or education in Oregon, please let me know either through email or through social media. We are happy to answer your questions. Jack has personal experience with studying in Oregon. Kaz has experience as well. She has got friends, so we are happy to connect you. And thank you for watching. And you guys, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.